I had a request for this sort of very chunky cabochon, really, wire ring. And it looks, every time you make it, it's different. It's made with aluminium wire. That gives it that chunky look, 1.6 mil aluminium wire. And I've used cabochons. They're sort of resin, but they can be obviously gemstones. But here are two bead ones, so you can use beads as well. They just become, it's a little bit more difficult to do in the sense that it sticks out more, it becomes even more chunky. So yes, you can do it with a bead, yes, you can do it with thinner wire, you can do it with copper plated, but I'm using soft aluminium 1.6 mil wire to get this really chunky effect. So I've got my turquoise cab. It's actually not real turquoise, it's a resin piece. So you can just get these, you can get them round, you can get them oval, you can use any shape you want. This will work with any shape. This is double-sided tape, and I'm putting that to the back of my cabochon. So it could be, you know, one of those rhinestones or anything like that. It could be a. So I'm going to cut off probably a good arm's length of wire. I want as much as possible. It depends on the size of the piece you're going to set at the center, the stone you're going to set. So now bend it in half and place your pliers at the center and make a loop, a circle with your round nose pliers. And because mine is an oval, I'm trying to make it a little bit more oval. And then I'm just going to bring the wire around. One side is going to go around one direction, and the other side is going to go around in the other direction. So you don't have to be very neat at this, except that you don't want it to be, you don't want the wire to go over itself. You want it to stay as flat as possible. So you've got a sort of rosette starting. Now get your steel block, and just so that it is as flat as possible, give it a good old whack with your whammer hammer. And that way you've got it as flat as possible, ready to put your cabochon, stick your cabochon on. So I've used the double-sided tape. Of course you could glue it, but gluing takes too long for my tutorial. So I'm just going to put it on with the sticky tape, double-sided, and that way I can now start immediately. So the wire that's on the top, start using that to wrap around the outside of whatever stone you've put on. And that gives it the sort of fake setting that you want, that sort of look of a fake setting. And now just bend the wire to a right angle on the sides. So you want them to come out, each wire to come out on either side of the cabochon that you've put on. And then we're going to put it on the ring stick. So take your ring stick or your ring mandrel or any circular stick. It could be a Pritt stick if it fits your finger. So anything that fits your finger to make the shank of the ring. So place that on and make sure it's central, that it's not lopsided. And then bring each of the wires around the back. So this is going to be the back of the ring. You're going to have two wires for the shank, because this is very chunky. If you had thinner wire, you might want to wrap it around a few times. And then now we can play, because really it is so much up to you. You can create spirals and all sorts of freestyling here. I'm just going to put a little sort of round, you see, I'm just going to spiral it around there to make a little circle, like a little spiral, I suppose, on one side, and that gives me this one side of the ring. And I'm just going to hold it there, and then on the other side I haven't got as much wire on that length, so I'm going to connect it now, secure it so that the shank is sort of a bit more secure. So that one I'm going to bind. So I'm going to bind it as close to that stone as possible. So I'm just going to put a little bind in there. This one I'm going to also bring that around the top to the opposite side, As I say, every time I make these, I do something different, but I'm just spinning it around the stone, just framing it again because I had a lot more wire, and then I can secure it around the other side of the frame. So because aluminium is such a soft metal, it gives you this chance to sort of play with it, really, just, you know, see where it wants to land, and you can, it's very easy to let it flow where it wants to go. So again, I'm just going to take the shorter end now. I keep going from one side to the other, so just keep looking at your piece and saying, what can I do with that end, and then go to the other side, what can I do the other end. Keep putting it back on your mandrel, because it will misshape very quickly, and if you feel it doing that, you can hammer whatever you've bound, because that work hardens it. So once you've got one bit as you wish, just hammer it a bit. Now this end I'm going to spiral, because this is the shorter end, and that will hide the wrap. So I take that wire, go round and round and round, spiral it up, right up to the side of my bead, which will be a sort of decorative feature to the ring. But if you find that you had too much wire, say on this side I've got a little bit too much wire, I'm just going to cut it off, because you don't want the spirals to be so big that they take over from the stone or the you know, the colourful piece that you've put in the centre, your sort of focal bead. And so I'm making a smaller spiral on this side so it doesn't dwarf the stone. Put it back now just to reshape everything and adjust it and make sure it's sitting central. So I'm going to hammer those spirals, work hard and make sure they're not going to move around. And then I also want to give a hammering to the back of the ring and the other side. And then just keep adjusting it and make sure that all the wires, every bit of manipulation, don't forget, is going to work harden and tighten, and just make sure those wires are lovely and stronger, much stronger than they were. Now, if your ring is too big, you can actually shorten it by doing these little kinks in the back, and I actually like the look of these kinks. I think it's another feature to the ring. So I'm just going to put that in there to show you, and then just keep hammering until you're completely happy that you've got it adjusted as you wish to have it, and then that looks almost ready. If you feel that spiral needs a bit more, I don't know, hammering, you can actually pull it out and put it on your steel block, readjust everything to make sure it's work hardened, and then obviously try it on just to see that it doesn't sort of encroach on your other fingers, you know, it just fits perfectly. Fits on my finger, my middle finger, not on my side finger. And there you have it. It's as quick as that. So I hope you enjoy making these.